Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Live. It is Thursday, of course, 1 p.m. top of the hour Pacific time, 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific and Arizona time. Thursday, July 7, 2016. I am steaming. Really angry. It's funny, I wasn't that angry this morning, but after having a few discussions, my blood began to boil. Thinking a little deeper about this case with Hillary Clinton and the overt criminal acts that makes up Washington, D.C. today. Again, no different than the TV show House of Cards on Netflix. So let's get right into it, folks. FBI Director Comey, Mr. James Comey, should be charged for treason. Really? You see, you'll never hear that kind of statement from Bill O'Reilly. You'll never hear it from Megan Smelly. You won't hear it from the quote-unquote conservative Fox News pundits, because either they don't have the balls to say it or they be canned. And it's why you're wading through the bullshit in tuning into AMTV alternative media television. Because what you get from the boob tube, folks, is bullshit. And this is bullshit. And I don't like using foul language, but in this case, it is strikingly appropriate. FBI Director James Comey should be ashamed of himself, and charges should be brought against him by the American people for violating the U.S. Constitution. Something that people like me hold dear, actually think is very valuable. A lot of people, men, women, still dying today, many before us, in the millions have died to protect that freedom. Not just the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment right to the freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and what you're tuning into right now, alternative media television. Real news, real truth. I'm not the only one angry. In fact, I'm probably less angry than most of the people around me right now that watch this circus clown, Mr. Comey, basically talk about whether or not Hillary Clinton had intent or not intent, or was gross negligence or not gross negligence, but because she didn't have intent by committing these crimes, they're not going to prosecute her because he's either been bought off by the Clintons or he's been threatened. Maybe both. Isn't there an oath of office? I was trying to look it up here to get kind of some of the exact words here on my phone before the broadcast. Isn't there some kind of FBI oath? What I see here online, it says, I do, and again, share this video with the FBI director. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. In this case, it seems we have a domestic enemy in the name of Hillary criminal Rodham Clinton that went out of her way to set up private email servers. She had to call a company up and be like, hey, I need to contract you guys out and set up a massive server infrastructure so that I can skate by the general public from seeing what I'm doing. So there was zero transparency. Again, the question you should be asking, America, is what was she hiding? What was happening during all of this? Well, Benghazi Gate, gun running, the death of Muammar Gaddafi, the Syria intervention, a covert intervention, the brewing and creation of ISIS, the worst terrorist organization we've ever seen, according to the State Department, even though they created it. Even Barack Obama has said publicly, funded the moderate terrorists and armed them. But those were the moderate ones, not the extreme ones. Yeah, just the moderate ones. Why? Because it destabilizes the Middle East. It achieves a very particular agenda. And it's not just Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. It's also people like George W. Bush. See, the left, I have many friends on the left, they'll tell me, why don't you ever go after George W. Bush? I do go after George W. Bush, just like I go after the scum that makes up Hillary Rodham Clinton and her husband, Bill. FBI Director James Comey should be ashamed of himself, and charges should be brought by the American public. And he should get a trial. And if convicted, he should serve a prison sentence, just like Hillary Crooked Clinton. That Donald Trump, I think, is being a little bit too light on, defining his crooked Hillary. That's kind of the new meme he's created. I think he's being too easy on her. Sad day for America, folks. A very sad day. Thursday, July 7th, 2016. And I talked about this in our previous live broadcast, again airing 2 days a week now, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, 1 to 2 p.m. Arizona time. Thank you for your support. I wouldn't be here without it. I wanted to have this fabulous IKEA desk that we bought for like $50. Thank you very much. These people should be ashamed of themselves. Let's continue to read the oath here. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Again, two enemies here, folks, foreign and domestic. How many men, boys really, girls really, fighting overseas in places like Iraq and Afghanistan have died or come home maimed so that we can have individuals like James Comey tell us, I'm not going to prosecute. Yeah, I don't think the intent was there, even though what she did was illegal. What if you didn't have the intent, let's say, not to pay your taxes or not to follow the law? Do you think that they would prosecute you? Do you think that they would press charges? Absolutely. But not in the case of these too big to fail politicians. You see, we don't just have the too big to fail banks. We have too big to fail politicians, the too big to fail mainstream media, all working together, all pressuring likely, people like James Comey. He's either in on it or he's just being threatened or a combination thereof. Notice how Loretta Lynch mob and the meeting that they had, and again, that's not a negative reference to Loretta Lynch, I could care less about her. Notice how they had a meeting in a plane just about a week or so ago, which was staged, by the way, that miraculously relieved her from any obligation of actually prosecuting Hillary Rodham Clinton. Wasn't that so just conveniently timed and leaked out to a reporter here locally, actually here in Phoenix? Happened for a reason. Put it out into the public sphere for a reason. A disgrace. But relieved her, Loretta Lynch has even said herself that she would follow the lead of the FBI. You see, she was removed, so she kind of didn't have to prosecute, and then she would just follow the lead, so it looked like some kind of independent investigation when we know there's no independent investigation. Again, this is a public spanking, just like the bankers. A public spanking, just a little, pat on the ass. They'll say tough things, they'll pretend to interrogate, but nothing actually really happens. And again, you will not hear this from Bill O'Reilly. You will not hear this from Megan Smelly. Not because they don't potentially know it, but they can't say it because they're working for the man, whether or not they like it or not. You only get it here at AMTV. I've got an article breaking from CNBC. It says FBI Director James Comey made his first appearance before Congress since announcing his agency's recommendation to not prosecute Hillary Clinton, which I 100% predicted, by the way, and said would never happen, that she would only get a public spanking, not even a flogging, and this would be it, and it would be over. And she's likely going to be the most powerful person and woman in the world in the coming months. I hope to God she's not, but there is a strong likelihood that that's actually the case. Very scary. You should be very scared, America. Comey appeared Thursday morning before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, reiterating his contention that the FBI's recommendation was not at all tinged by political considerations, saying that it was apolitical. How are we supposed to believe that, Mr. Comey? Now, look, you were appointed, I believe, by George W. Bush, and then it continued through the Barack Obama administration. But you mean to tell me there's not enough evidence to at least prosecute with a judge, jury, and trial? Of course there is. But this woman is above the law. And these people don't care. And again, either James Comey is a part of this on the inside, or he's being threatened. Bottom line. And James, if you're watching this, you should be ashamed of yourself because you have an oath, sir. You have an oath to follow. And we have enemies, both foreign and domestic. Foreign enemies that are politicians go have the little people fight. the peasants that make up America today. Yeah, you go fight and die in these wars. Why the politicians themselves don't even lift a finger. Don't send their children. They dodge the draft. It's unsettling. It's a disgrace. It's angering. It's the truth. And everybody's afraid to tell you the truth. Well, I'm not. The world knows this, and the people in America know this, and it's what they're saying at the water cooler. The people that I'm talking about, affiliated, not affiliated with AMTV, friends, family members, it's what they're talking about. They are seething right now. Comey on Capitol Hill. Comey challenges truthfulness of Clinton's email defenses. Politico really just confirms what we're talking about here. James Comey's rebuke of Hillary Clinton fits a 3-decade pattern. Again, this isn't the first time Hillary Rodham Clinton has been engulfed in some kind of scandal. Her entire service to the United States of America is a freaking scandal. Whether or not it's her husband, Bill, Slick Willie, I did not have a sexual relationship with that woman. I did not stick my cigar up a hoo-ha. I swear I didn't do it. He swears he didn't commit a felony, even though he did. By the way, the crimes that Hillary Clinton has committed is a felony charge in this country. And again, they would hold your ass to the fire. They would hold you accountable, but not her. Because as I pointed out, and many others did, she's above the law. And it's very sad. And it's a piss off to have it rubbed in our faces. America should be angry. And if we can't get it done with these people that are supposed to be working on behalf of us, the U.S. Constitution in America, then it's up to the God-fearing people to do it themselves. So bring charges, America. Let's have a trial. Let's really make it a media circus. Hold people like James Comey accountable for his decision not to prosecute. Otherwise, he should just step down. If he's fearful, just step down. Get out of the way. Again, the meeting with Bill Clinton, and I've done several videos on this, and Loretta Lynch, was timed, staged, and occurred for a very specific reason, and then leaked out to the media to remove Loretta Lynch and to allow the FBI to basically allow Hillary Clinton right off into the sunset, in my humble opinion. She says she'll follow the lead of the FBI. She'll just let her get away with it. Again, she's going to remove herself from that situation. Terrible, terrible situation that we are engaged here in the United States of America. And again, this is a pattern with the Clintons. Whether or not it's Hillary Clinton recently with Benghazi Gate, the death of CIA liaison Christopher Stevens, several other Americans. They even told us. Susan Rice actually told us, no bullshit, that it had nothing to do with September 11th at all, even though it occurred, and it wasn't terrorism, even though it occurred on the freaking anniversary date of another false flag staged event to take away your freedom and remove your rights. Benghazi Gate, Whitewater, Monica Lewinsky, the unfair treatment of the IRS of conservative groups, and many, many body bags that I'm going to get to in a moment. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on. And I'm not going to be able to get to all of it. In fact, I could take the next 12 months and just do a documentary on the body count that allegedly, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, allegedly, mysteriously seems to happen in and around the Clinton-Nista clan. I mentioned, let me look for this article, which to me is one of the more outstanding reports that I've seen of the former head of the UN, United Nations General Assembly, accidentally, it was an accident, of course, crushing his own throat right before testifying against Hillary Clinton. His name's John Ash. Just died. He was lifting weights and accidentally he just crushed his own throat before testifying. It was an accident. Again, a mysterious, convenient accident. It says, call it conspiracy theory, coincidence, or just bad luck, maybe just convenient timing. But anytime someone is in a position to bring down Hillary Clinton by testifying, they wind up dead. Feel free to, by the way, to share this with your friends too. Just let them know see what they think about it. In fact, there's a long history of Clinton-related body counts with scores of people dying under mysterious circumstances. Perhaps the most notable is Vince Foster. Foster was a partner at Clinton's law firm and knew the inner workings of the Clinton machine. Police ruled the death a suicide, or what we'd call here in our community, suicided. We've seen this with the bankster elites as well in recent years. Dozens and dozens of people just falling off buildings randomly. Though it is often noted that Foster may have been suicided. Now, another official has found himself on the wrong end of the Clintons, allegedly. That John Ash was a former president of the United Nations General Assembly highlights the fact that no one is safe once in their sights. This is Zero Hedge, by the way, the source. And as you might have guessed, there are major inconsistencies with Ash's death. It was not only conveniently timed, because Ash died just a few days, literally, before being set to testify against Clinton in a corruption case, but official reports indicated he died of a heart attack. Later, it goes on, the New York Post, page 6, reported that after Ash was found dead, Wednesday, the UN claimed that he had died from a heart attack, but local police officers in Dobbs Ferry, New York, later disputed the claim, saying instead that he died from a workout accident that crushed his throat. Just, again, a mysterious accident. And I know the radical left will just write it off like that. Oh, just an accident. Oh, that stuff happens. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that happening before, but somehow it happened to John Ash. It must be a coincidence, right? The list goes on and on and on. And again, these are allegations, and you can look this stuff up for yourself, but the Clinton body count is quite a long list. Okay, I mean, we're talking it could take the next 12 months in a major feature film that maybe Dinesh D'Souza, hoping to grab his interview when we're at Freedom Fest coming up next week. I believe it's the 13th through the 16th of July. Also, we'll be hosting a private dinner that we've never done before. Check out on our website under special events for that. Limited seating availability, up to 15 people, I believe. It's not going to last long, but if you'd like to meet me in person and help with what we do here at AMTV, it's also kind of a little bit of a fundraiser. You also get a discount, $50 off, if you're an on-demand subscriber. Check that on our website at store.amtvmedia.com under special events. But the point being is that this list is long. Whether or not it's Don Adams, or it's John Ash that I just mentioned, or a gentleman by the name of Admiral Jeremy Borda. And again, we can just keep going here, folks, on and on. Ron Brown, you guys should investigate this. You're the independent media. You're a part of this just as much as I am. Investigate. Send me what you find. Send me an email at our contact form at amtvmedia.com. Eric Butera. List goes on. William Colby, Gregory Collins, Suzanne Coleman, Keith Coney, L.J. Davis, David Dry, Daniel Dutko, 5 Navy aviators, the names I won't mention, Herschel Friday, Vincent Foster, Eric Fox. Again, the list goes on and on. I'm not going to bore you to tears with it, but it's a long laundry list of body bags. And again, James Comey is a disgrace. He's in a position of power, and if there's enough evidence to show, even though he's going to argue to the contrary of it, that she committed a felony act, then charges should be brought against her. And there should be a court and rule of law and a jury of her peers if they find that she did, which Comey has admitted. I mean, this is how ridiculous it is. Up to, I believe from the reports I've read, up to 2,000 plus classified emails, then that should be prosecuted. It should be brought to the attention of the American public, and she should have to stand trial, just like the rest of us. It should happen. And if James Comey isn't going to take initiative on that, then the American people should hold him and Hillary and all these officials, including Loretta Lynch, accountable. I talked about this in the video yesterday. How is Hillary Clinton and what she did any different from Edward Snowden? How is Hillary Clinton and what she did leaking classified documents to potentially America's most dangerous and hated enemies from Chelsea Manning? Or let's say Julian Assange. How is she and what she did any different? And you know what the difference is? Nothing. There is no difference, except for one. She did it all under the thumb, nose, and I would suspect approval of the President of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, who I'll also get to in a moment because he had this really classy picture that came out of recently in a Muslim garb that Bill O'Reilly, and I applaud you, Bill. You might not go too far over the line, but you're doing a great job. Honestly, you are doing a great job. So cheers, sir, to you. I'll get to that in a moment, even though, Obama claims he's a Christian, which, if you're intelligent enough, know that he isn't. Again, this makes me angry. Got a picture here of James Comey, born December 14th, 1960, the 7th director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the current incumbent. Assumed office September 4, 2013. I believe he was appointed first by George W. Bush, later, continued to serve under the administration of Barack Obama. I mentioned Bill O'Reilly a minute ago. And again, cheers, Bill. In fact, Bill, help us share our content out to the world because there's certain things that you can't say. And I understand it because I couldn't say it either if I worked for Fox News. First of all, I'd have a bunch of teleprompters telling me what to freaking say. They'd just be ordering me around. But you know this better than me. Let's just put it that way. But you can help us by getting the truth out, by tweeting the message, maybe even bringing me on Fox. That would be fantastic. I'd love to come on. I'm available today if you'd like me to have me on Fox News. We can talk about this, why I think there should be a ground movement here in the United States. The American people should demand answers, and Comey should be prosecuted, potentially, for not bringing charges to a woman who has committed criminal acts. So himself has told us that that's the case. Up to 2,000 plus potentially classified emails leaked to America's most potentially dangerous enemies. No different than Edward Snowden, no different from Chelsea Manning, who rots in a cage, no different from Julian Assange, who is in the equivalent of an Ecuadorian prison right now, in London, I believe. Now, again, I'm not dumb enough to think that those people are not still working and are part of intelligence assets, maybe potentially here in the United States of America and also Moscow, because let's face facts. People like Edward Snowden wouldn't be alive unless they were working for Moscow. But he can be trusted. I mean, he was working a part of the intelligence community before. He was out in Hawaii, he was a part of that, and then now he's still working for America. I mean, it's such BS. He's at the very least a double, if not triple agent. Remember when he was at the Sheremetyevo airport and every media outlet on the face of the planet was trying to locate him, but nobody could find him? He was just there. It was like, where's Waldo or something? And then he just ended up conveniently in Moscow, protected by the bear, with a bear hug of Vladimir Putin. They just kind of made out with each other. Come on. You got to be kidding me. No way this guy would even be alive if he wasn't working for Vladimir Putin. He's an intelligence asset, at the very least a forced intelligence asset of Moscow today. He actually rolls around like this web bot now on a screen. I don't know if you've seen pictures from this because he can't leave his secure intelligence location. I've talked about this extensively, that those journalists that broke this story, I think actually potentially might be in on it. Filmmakers like Laura Poitras, Glenn Greenwald, or they just don't care. Maybe they really do think they're getting, the truth out and the leak to the public. But you're dumb if you're just taking all of this at face value. But again, what Edward Snowden did, but he had intent. See, that's the difference, I guess, according to Comey, is that Edward Snowden had intent. Well, what was Edward Snowden's intent? Let's just say you buy the official story. His intent was that as an American, valuing freedom, liberty, and the Constitution. He wanted the American people to know that the national spying agency that makes up the NSA today, that is probably surveilling this discussion right now, live here at AMTV, and also witnessing sexual acts with your partners because they're looking at you through the cameras and recording your conversations. His intent was he just wanted to give Americans a heads up that their Constitution was being raped and violated. Actually sounds like a pretty good intent to me. What was Julian Assange's intent? What was Chelsea Manning's intent? A pretty disturbed person. Well, intents at face value look pretty good to me, like pretty honest. Like, hey, this is wrong. It's a violation of the Constitution. The American people should know about it. But in Hillary's case, because I guess she was just grossly negligent, it doesn't matter if she leaked, security codes or nuclear technology potentially to Russia or China or something. It's just fine because she didn't mean to. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's fine. There wasn't any intent, so we're not going to press charges. Plus, she's already been selected as the next president of the United States of America, a system that also can't be trusted, the electoral system. Very angry, folks. Very angry. I'm probably 25% angered compared to a lot of the people that I'm speaking to that, again, are seething right now. I'm not making this up. When you talk around the water cooler, maybe you're watching this video right now and you've got a family member in the room. Are you angry? I'm just tired of seeing this stuff carry itself out and then the American people just throwing their hands up in the air like they can't do anything about it. When in actuality, the American people have all the power. We collectively are the foot soldiers, the ones that also fight and die overseas for these people that won't go fight the wars themselves, that are responsible for protecting this great land. Sarah Palin, whether you like her or not, and a lot of people want to make fun of her, put out, I thought, a very poignant post on Facebook a couple days ago talking about just that. The American people need to rise up in Alaska. That they need to rise up, that it's up to us. And there's so much truth to that. And again, I applaud people like Bill O'Reilly for getting some of the truth out, but he can't say everything. He just can't do it. Because there's no difference between Fox, CNN, MSNBC, or any of the others. It all comes from the same source. Just a slightly skewed narrative that pretends that the two opposing sides are at war, conservatism versus liberalism, and it creates this artificial reality that makes up the dog and pony show that is the political system today, that is entirely a propaganda illusion, a facade. Everyone tuning into this channel knows that. Most people know that. I know that. That's why it's really the mission statement, kind of unofficially, of AMTV and alternative media to wade through and cut through the bullshit with a giant machete, which is what you get here. So Bill O'Reilly shares photos of Barack Obama, and I think we've got some of this we could bring up on the screen, a traditional Muslim garb. And again, I don't care what religion you are, color, race, sex, anything. I don't care. You can be whatever you want to be in America, but Bill O'Reilly points out that Barack Obama isn't entirely being honest with the American public. Because you can look at these photographs, and allegedly these were taken with Obama's half-brother Malik, who just also happened, and you can see the photos here, Barack Obama's a Christian. He is. He believes in Jesus. He just wears Muslim garb in his spare time. That's all. It's not political at all. He doesn't say one thing but do the exact opposite because it resonates better with the American public so he can get elected. He's a Christian. But what I found kind of crazy actually about this is there's a picture I think we also have, we should put it up on the screen if we've got it, of Malik, Obama's half-brother, in a 2013 interview speaking to the colonel that made up Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi that was curiously killed indirectly through U.S. intelligence assets to overthrow and destabilize his government, which has currently become the shit show that makes up the Middle East today and has destabilized the entire region, that has fostered the Israeli secret intelligence service that makes up ISIS that no one had even heard of before, up until the media and the government wanted you to hear about it. Again, this was my greatest argument when ISIS first went poof out of thin air. Was that, where did ISIS come from? What's the truth about it? Oh, it's pretty much just come from Al-Qaeda, which also was funded, all CIA, by the U.S. government, Western resources, etc., that has become ISIS today, also funded, armed by the Barack Obama administration and admitted by the State Department and the Pentagon. That's where it came from. You see, by taking out, Trump is right about this, by taking out leaders like Muammar Gaddafi, it just kind of allowed the sewer pit to just kind of fester with warring factions of terrorists fighting each other. I mean, even Al-Qaeda and ISIS didn't like each other at first, and then their interests aligned when they realized they were fighting a common enemy. You're starting to see some pieces on this now put out by the mainstream media. I've had these ideas for quite some time, but time is of the essence. We have limited availability to put out only, so many units of commentary or, documentaries or special episodes or this kind of thing. But, where did the terrorism come from? Why do these people hate us? Why are there more and more of these engineered events like Orlando? Why? People fail to ask why. To ask any questions. They just take Comey's word for it that, I guess there's probably not enough evidence, even though he said it there was, but just because she didn't have intent, they're not going to prosecute. Again, very interesting photo of Obama's half-brother speaking with Muammar Gaddafi, who again was killed indirectly through NATO, U.S. allies, and her assets, which has only resulted in the shit show that makes up the Middle East today, that Barack Obama just came out yesterday, I believe it was, and said he's going to leave even more troops than he had previously promised. Seriously. It was something along the lines he was going to withdraw, so there was only like 5,000 troops there or something, but now there's, upwards of 8,000 plus that he's going to keep there because it's actually more unstable now, courtesy of not just Barack Obama, but also George W. Bush and Obama providing a continuation for that strategic war, perpetual, endless, timeless, infinite war. Perpetual, timeless, infinite, perpetual war to infinity. So they can use it against you, so they can raise the terror alert, so they can justify the surveillance state today. It's why they're spying on you, America. It's why they're listening in on your conversations, the things you don't want other people to hear. They need to know because the terror alert is so high. They need to protect you even though they can't, and even though these tragic events occur pretty much on a weekly basis now. And these people hate us. Again, don't ask any questions, but they need to spy. They need to violate the Constitution and rape it repeatedly. They need to get away with this, folks. Okay? They're only here to protect you, to look out for your best interests. So when they're listening to your conversations and wiretapping your house through illegal search and seizure because they've put you on a quote-unquote terror list, they need to do it. And you need to withdraw all your freedom and rights as an American today. It's just the right thing to do, America. Even Donald Trump wants more surveillance, folks. He thinks we need more. It's not enough that they're watching you and your wife make love later tonight or studying your internet porn addiction and other perversions. It's not enough. They need more access, more control, more power. Mark Zuckerberg needs a few more $1 billion. That's the honest-to-God truth. He needs it so he can buy up more strategic real estate and make sure the little people can't even look him in the eye. When I say these things, they should be absolutely unbelievable. It should be shocking. Some of you might just be giggling like little girls right now because it's so ridiculous. And you can't even make this stuff up because it's reality and it's the truth. This is America, folks. Land of the free, home of the brave. Again, we just celebrated July 4th, Star Spangled Banner, fireworks going on, and here we are in this absolute police state, absolute surveillance state. But again, Just be assured, America, that there's justification for it. Inch by inch, death by 1,000 cuts, which has been the agenda, whether or not it's gun control or surveillance, ever since the Manchurian president Barack Obama took office. It's the truth. I can prove it. In fact, I'm going to have our video editors recut a lot of what I call AMTV classic videos, many that you've never seen, predicting a lot of the events, and I don't get everything right, but predicting a lot of the events that we see now. Increased surveillance state, the algorithm that makes up these too big to fail tech giants now that are more powerful than the U.S. government, the wars and the destabilization that has only continued in places like Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Yemen, Syria. I mean, we've got playlists, folks, dozens and dozens of videos, hours of coverage before it happened. I'm no genius, but I can wade through the bullshit. That's why you're tuning in here. I can see it just like you guys can. Maybe you just don't have a platform to say it. It's why I'm acting on your behalf. It's my duty as an American, as a freedom-loving person, as a freedom-oriented person to the world. I can see how the media narrative is developing before the media pundits do so, and even the media giants do so themselves. See, what's interesting about AMTV is that I'm not controlled, right? I'm not bought. I can say whatever I want. In fact, pretty much we're directing just ourselves everything. It's just real opinion, real truth, hard-hitting and in your face, wade through the bullshit. And you can't get it anywhere but here. It's really what's so amazing about it. It's what actually kind of juices me, gets me excited. Again, anger can be a good thing, and we have to understand that there are far more powerful forces at work than Hillary Rodham Clinton or Barack Obama. Faces of this regime. It's far more powerful, far more integrated. You know, you get a taste of it kind of at the Bilderberg meetings. We've got some great journalists, you know who these people are on the ground. They go out and capture these interviews and just, you know, brings it to the attention that this stuff's actually happening, not in the public eye, not in the public sphere. It's not that it's a surprise, but again, very powerful, sinister forces at work. The body bag count lists that I just referenced, scary shit. I mean, let's be honest, it's scary, but it's the truth. Like, you can't make up these scandals. I'm not making up Benghazi Gate. I'm not making up Whitewater. I'm not making up Monica Lewinsky. I'm not making up John Ash. Again, fire back at all your critics. They're like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, even though it's just truth, with hard evidence. Send them article after article after article after article, video after video after video after video, proof after proof after proof after proof, until they just can't stomach it anymore. So what's happened to a lot of us is you become enlightened and you wake up and there's that elevated awareness of what's really going on. Even people, I think they know it deep down, they just don't want to believe it. Because once you believe it and turn the corner and you understand that it is reality, it flips this entire model on its head. You suddenly feel very insecure. You realize that your own government can't be trusted, which is exactly why the Founding Fathers set up this constitutional republic the way it is from the get-go, because a fundamental point of the U.S. Constitution and the establishment of this country is that big government can't be trusted, especially over the long haul, which is where we are now. A totally and completely all-powerful unilateral government, federal government acting on your behalf in every facet of your life, whether or not it's big technology, what they're integrated with there, with the 5 big tech monopolies that somehow that's okay now. Monopolies are okay in America, or it's the media that is controlled, or it's as politicians that these people in the smoking room own. The James Comeys of the world that are supposed to be acting and taking an oath of office in the best interest of the American people. I mean, that's why the checks and balances are there, right? You do realize that. That's why there's these people, supposedly, like Loretta Lynch, Attorney General, and Comey here, is they're supposed to be the check to balance criminals, fraud. But see, it's not working. That's the fundamental point here that Americans need to understand. It's not working. So what did the Founding Fathers also do? Well, they set up an environment that said if it's not working any longer, then the American people need to take action, just like Sarah Palin has recommended. You need to be the foot soldiers on the ground. And you can do all of this peacefully, right? You can write your politicians, you can protest in the street, you can get our media out, any kind of media that is, giving an alternative perspective to what's really going on. You can vote with your wallets. You don't have to bank with any of the too big to fail banks. Go to your credit union. Take your money elsewhere. Support media like us that isn't controlled, bought, and paid for like CNN or Fox News. Vote with your wallets. It's actually one of the most powerful things. Why do you think they keep interest rates at zero and keep lubricating and masturbating the system like some hooker? They've got to keep you spending and engaged in this system. JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America folks need your support. They need your loans so that they can take $1 and create 10 out of thin air. That's what they call banking, and loan it to everybody else, and then trade on their own derivative accounts with your cash deposits. They need your support, otherwise they go out of business. Just like these politicians, it's what has made Donald Trump so rare. It's why he's been this outlier that has kind of superseded the traditional political model, because Americans are voting a different way politically. Vote with your wallets. Again, why do we have 0% interest rates? They want you to spend. Leverage, 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 leverage. They need it. It's why there's 0 and negative interest rates. It's why they've only bumped up once and real rates have collapsed. It's why gold is doing very well. It's why prepping is important. Physically and intellectually and spiritually. It is my mission to get the truth out to the American people and the people of the world. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my best. Honest to God, I'm doing my best. Every single day, honestly, it's a lot of pressure, folks. I'm doing my best for you. I ask that you return the favor. Very angry today. From Whitewater to Benghazi. A primer, if you're interested, I think was a pretty good one. Maybe you're just new to this. You're a millennial, and you don't know how sinister of an operation, maybe you're even on the fence, you think you might vote for Hillary, that the Clinton Eastern Klan is. It's kind of a good primer from the Atlantic. You know, kind of mainstream, but it really does go over a lot of the shenanigans. Again, like the show House of Cards. You know, the picture of Frank Underwood with the blood running down his hands. We ran a clip of it yesterday for on-demand subscribers. Again, thank you for your support. That's your contribution. $4.95 a month, $49.95 a year. So we keep the lights on, do what we do. I can get an IKEA desk so I can put these fancy papers here. All I care about is the truth. All I care about is getting that message out to the American people because it's important. Again, when we're down at Freedom Fest, the 13th through the 16th, I'm hoping to gather quite a few interviews. One in particular would be Dinesh D'Souza, who's done some just bombshell films. He's one of the few. I would potentially even like to work with him someday because he's really put out some controversial pieces, whether or not it's 2016 highlighting Obama for who he and what he really is. Also, his latest work, which the title is escaping me at the moment, on Hillary. Again, here's a guy, this is a perfect example, who was actually prosecuted and almost went to jail for some measly finance contribution to like a political campaign or something like that, where he like over donated like $13,000 or something like that. Like some minuscule event that was probably just an accident. He's prosecuted to the hilt by the Barack administration and almost goes to jail. I reported on this extensively. Here we have a report. Says conservative author and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza avoided prison on Tuesday. This was a while back, while U.S. judge sentenced him to serve 8 months in a community confinement center. So it looks like he did do that after he pleaded guilty, which is probably what his attorneys advised him to do, to violating campaign finance law. And then he was fined. And again, it was like the weakest thing, and may or may have not been wrong. I think he's come out publicly and said that he made a mistake, etc. But we're talking like apples to oranges compared to Hillary Rodham Clinton. I mean, Hillary's leaking thousands, premeditated, by the way. It was premeditated to set up infrastructure and servers and run this all under the nose of Barack Obama. One of the reasons why she's getting off. Because if there was a prosecution being held right now and it was moving forward and Comey had the balls to do it, guess who would also be stepping into the spotlight? Barack Obama, folks. He'd be right there, a giant spotlight. It's one of the reasons they're not moving forward with it. It goes really high and above even Barack Obama. That's how big it is. They didn't want you to know the communications going back and forth with the Clinton Foundation, obviously, or she wouldn't have set up a private infrastructure. They didn't want you to know what was going on behind the scenes with Benghazi Gate and the creation and funding and arming of ISIS. They didn't want you to know. They didn't want you to know that they staged the chemical attack in what was it, Ghouta, Syria. They didn't want you to know that. It looks bad. People are dying. Over 500,000 people, according to some independent third-party reports in Syria. That's why she wanted to keep it quiet. Why do you think she went to great lengths to hire a company, build her own private infrastructure, multiple servers, and then destroy all the evidence, which is exactly what she did? It's the same reason charges aren't being brought, because they need to keep this stuff quiet. It's almost as if their surveillance state is working against them. There's a story I'm going to be getting to in a moment. And this show is just blowing by because I have a lot to say today. And I want to welcome everybody on Facebook, looking at you, Facebook. I want to welcome everybody on YouTube, looking on you, YouTube. I want to welcome everybody on demand. Thank you for your support. Also, let me remind you, AMTV t-shirts, foot soldiers, check it out. $19.95. Buy one today. Go to our store, .amtvmedia.com. Buy two, buy three. Give it out to your family and friends. Dinesh D'Souza. We'll be following up with him. I'm going to be moving to another story, and I'm going to have things to say about it that probably are going to surprise you. Mainstream is talking about a woman who Facebook live streamed her dying boyfriend seconds after he is shot 4 times by a cop, and I warn you that the video is graphic. We won't be showing you the video, although you can watch it on your own, but we'll probably roll the article in the background so you can at least see that. I'm going to get into that in a minute on guns and what appears to me to be, honestly, a very tragic event. We're going to go to a quick break. I'm Christopher Green. You're watching AMTV Live. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, we are back. I'm Christopher Green. You're watching AMTV Live. We've had a fantastic blowout bombshell show today. Please share it with all your friends and family. Get it out into the real world, not just digitally. Just a reminder that we're broadcasting 2 days a week now, every Tuesday and Thursday with your support, God willing. And I'm having a fantastic time doing it, and it's amazing to expand this broadcast. And we'll do more and more and more and more if you guys support it. I want to go to a very important story that I think might surprise you a little bit on my take. And this is kind of really, there's a lot of coverage on this. I haven't checked CNN today because I just can't even watch it right now with the whole Clinton thing, but I'm pretty sure this is just all over the papers on TV. A woman Facebook live streams her dying boyfriend seconds after he is shot 4 times by a cop as his mother says police kept her from her son's deathbed and claims the girlfriend is now missing. Now, what's really interesting about this story, and admittedly, watching the live stream, which I'm assuming was on Facebook, I believe, doesn't show the actual shooting. It's only after the event. So that's important to remind yourself. You're only getting it after this man was shot. And he dies. He bleeds to death. His girlfriend is incredibly calm, actually, through all this. It's almost kind of surprising how, calm she is. But the officer, who, according to the Daily Mail, was a Chinese police officer, unloaded 4 different consecutive bullets into the arm and the stomach area region of this man. And he's just bleeding out. Diamond Reynolds live stream. This is the girl from the aftermath of her boyfriend's shooting. Reynolds claims that he was reaching for a license and ID. And she says he told the cop he had a license to carry a weapon. And then something happened. Again, that's part of the scuffle we don't get. When you just watch the footage, my opinion was it was an outrage. But again, I don't know what happened up leading to that event. Did the cop panic? Did he think he was going for a gun? Is there, maybe a misrepresentation on what we're getting here, which are all, very real actual possibilities. But in just watching the footage that's provided, honestly, I was outraged. There's a tremendous amount of discussion going on in social media right now about this. Oh, this is the reason we need to take guns, away, et cetera. And, of course, bringing up and unearthing the race issue, which I think there's so much truth to that. And I believe that there is racism in America. I've never said anything to the contrary, but especially the, engineered social race events that have occurred, under the nose, again, of Barack Obama, whether or not it's, Trayvon Martin likening himself to his son, making it very difficult for, fair trial to occur in that process, or it's Michael Brown, who was proven to be a thug, proven, not my opinion, charging the cop, bull rushing him. And I see here we're about 5 minutes before the top of the hour. I might go a little bit over that today. Even though I like to stay at a specific time slot, but I just kind of feel that this story is important. I guess this story is developing. I'll be looking into it. What I've seen initially, honestly, is an outrage, and we don't know at this point what happened before, the live stream first started occurring. But what we do know is that a girlfriend live streamed all of this, that her boyfriend is dead tragically, that 4 bullets were unloaded. And again, everybody always wants to use every single one of these tragic events, take away the guns, get rid of the guns, take away the guns. And there just seems to be an agenda behind it, whether or not it's coming from the right and left. So maybe we'll leave it there today, and I'll go to some questions, and I'll consider a follow-up video if you guys want me to report on this a little bit more extensively. But it's been such just a bombshell story today, I thought I would at least mention it. Let me see if I have any quick comments on Facebook. I really like interacting with you guys and YouTube as well, so put your comment down. Let me see if I can pull, if we got our live feed here, and make sure I can actually see the broadcast, which looks like I can. We've got quite a few comments here, and feed's looking really nice to me. Peter says, I wish one of the Senate members asked Director Comey if he would prosecute anyone else for the same crime as Hillary, even if he couldn't find intent. Nicholas says, don't like the so help me God part of that oath as an atheist, but not the point. No one should be above the law. Not a fan of laws either, because they are open to exploitation too. But if we must have them, they should apply to everyone. Rebecca says, it is unheard of that the subject of a criminal investigation is not interviewed under oath or without the interview being recorded. If there was any doubt regarding Comey's integrity, it has now been uncovered. Michael makes a comment, eugenics Hillary is more against Republicans than terrorists. That is scary, especially if she is cheated into the presidency by our rigged system. Actually, probably the most popular hashtag the last few days, hashtag rigged system. In fact, feel free to share this video, which you're watching right now, and hashtag it rigged system. Get it out to the public. Send it out to the mainstream media. Send it to Bill O'Reilly. I'd love to come on the broadcast. I'm just an average guy, a regular guy. And I'm pointing out the same things you guys are at a water cooler today, or earlier this afternoon or morning. You know, it's time our voices were heard, that we're represented. And then it's not just what these pundits on quote-unquote TV are telling us how to think, or these tech giants are influencing us how to think. With all of these stories and all of these events, whether or not it is Middle East relations, terrorism, the Hillary Clinton email scandal, or this tragic shooting of a young man. Leah says, what up, Christopher? How you doing today? Kind of a pound fist. You look so serious. Why the stern look? Brett says, after they shot him, what's up, Brett? You've been a long-time supporter, buddy. Thank you so much for tuning in, man, and supporting what we do. It honestly means a lot to me. You know, I've seen many of you have been with me every single step of the way, from the beginning, from video number 1 to 2,000 plus videos. And I think that's actually what a lot of people don't see the growth of what we've built here. You know, they don't see me because they never saw that content. And I actually want to air some of this in the next couple of weeks and putting together some of these pieces so that you see that we've truly built this grassroots and organically with your support, and that we've been talking about all these events that are now transpiring in real life today. And again, it doesn't make me a crystal ball reader. I don't predict the future or anything like that. But we were talking about it so long ago, and now it's a reality. It's just staring at us. And the friend I was talking to earlier this morning said, Chris, yeah, it's just right in front of our faces. And it is. And it's sad. And it's scary. And the American people deserve better. We're going to end on that note today. Again, we'll be covering Freedom Fest extensively next week, July 13th through 16th. I will be hosting, as a reminder, a private dinner for up to 15 people, a little bit of a fundraiser as well. I'd love to meet you. Love to have you guys there. I know it's going to sell quick. Thank you so much for your support. It'll be Thursday, the 14th, I believe it is. All the details to be determined. We'll be hosting at 7 o'clock. Get a great meal and spend it with some great company. You can register for a ticket. Again, there's only 15 of them. Pretty selective here. At our store, store.amtvmedia.com. Also, grab a t-shirt. Simple tasks. Grab a t-shirt. Grab 2. Grab 3. Tell your friends about us. Keep sharing us. Keep liking these videos. Let everybody know. I'm Christopher Green. God bless all of you. Hard-hitting and in your face. You're tuning into AMTV live. Thursday, July 7th, 2016. We'll be reposting and rebroadcasting this broadcast all around the world. Peace.